Yo guys, it is your boy Niran here, and today it's time to make myself look like a fool. A fool, I tell you. It's the end of the Premier League season, and you know what that means. Elation, heartache, 53-year-old men called Gareth with nothing to do on a Saturday afternoon, and more importantly than that, every single football YouTuber in existence reacting to their Premier League predictions. I would like to clarify, if there are mistakes here, I do still have excellent ball knowledge. And I know a lot about football as well. Last year, I predicted that Bournemouth would finish in the upper mid-table. I don't have much faith in myself. It didn't get much better near end of the past. I'm not gonna lie. So in 20th was Sheffield United. I may have predicted them 10th. I think part of my problem for the prediction that I did was I was basing it too much on how just the end of the season, the table looked. Because really and truly, it did not take a rocket scientist to see that Sheffield United were absolutely shocking after COVID. I don't really know why at any point I didn't think that may continue into the next season, especially when their squad personnel were overperforming anyway. So I'm already 10 places wrong, and it's the first team, the first position. I'm gonna end this video having to become a career mode YouTuber again. That's the situation here. In 19th place were West Bromwich Albion. Your boy predicted them 19th. Come on, are you mad? I'm out here. We'll forget about how disastrous the first prediction was, but I don't think there was a single person that didn't expect them to go down, really. In 18th were Fulham. I predicted them to go down, but I predicted them to go down bottom of the table. Now, this, I have excuses ready. Okay, lady, don't you worry. I would say the one thing that really hurt me when it comes to these predictions, some of them are awful. I will straight up say that. One thing that did hurt me was the fact that I did it before a lot of transfers had happened. Emi Martinez and Ollie Watkins hadn't even signed for Aston Villa. Thiago hadn't signed for Liverpool. I don't think Ruben Diaz had signed for City. And Fulham hadn't signed everybody they signed in the window, because when I made this prediction, they were basically still a championship club. It was the side that faced Arsenal and got duppied about before they signed the likes of Areola. They hadn't signed Ademola Lookman. I don't think they'd even signed Adara Bioyo or Anderson at centre-back. They went down anyway, so I'm going to take that as a moral victory of a kind. Now, this is another painful one. 17th, Burnley. I predicted them to finish 11th, which, to be honest, isn't that outrageous, and really and truly between where they finished and 12th was 6 points. They could have finished 12th, they finished 17th. That's really not a very good analysis. Get me on Sky Sports, ladies and gentlemen. Low-key, I only predicted them that high because I like Viz Liam, yeah? I see you beefing me in your predictions vid. I was just looking out for you, innit? No? 16th place, Brighton. I predicted them 15th. They didn't really do a huge amount in the window that inspired me. I think that's what I based a lot of my predictions on. Yves Bissouma, though, really standout performer for them, and he's linked with Liverpool. I would love him as a bit of a replacement for Wijnaldum. If they lose him, I genuinely think Brighton could be in serious issues, unless they bring in a proven goal scorer. Leandro Trossard is not going to score more. He hits the woodwork more than he scores. In 15th place were Southampton. I predicted them to be 14th. So I actually did pretty well with the mid-table. Southampton really fell away. Let's not forget they were top at one point, I think in November. They were well up there and looked as if they'd at least get into Europe. They fell away drastically. Danny Ings got injured, and then I don't think they really ever recovered. I would be a little bit concerned maybe if I was a Southampton fan next year. I think you need to get Danny Ings firing again. In 14th were Crystal Palace, and I predicted them to finish 12th. I don't really know what you want me to say. Crystal Palace are perhaps now the most boring team in the league based on just what they do. I love Eze. Hopefully he gets back from his injury soon. I like Zaha. Actually, defensively as well, it's just Brexit and Inshallah, which isn't really, those two, they do not go together. They're just there every season. 12th to 15th, 12th to 15th. 13th, Wolves. I predicted them to finish 8th, just outside Europe again. A bit of a surprise package in a negative sense, Wolves. And this prediction could have been a lot worse. Raul Jimenez being out for most of the season massively impacted them as well. Once Raul is back next season, I'm sure they'll improve, but it's not the worst prediction in the world. I think most people probably predicted them to finish 8th, 9th, or 10th. 12th place were Newcastle. I predicted them to finish in 16th. I'm actually surprised I didn't predict them to finish lower. It's because they usually just survive by the skin of their teeth for no apparent reason. They did more than that this year. They actually survived by a very decent margin. No doubt thanks to Joe Willock on loan. Most Newcastle fans would offer both of their lungs in order to have Joe Willock there at the club permanently next season. In 11th place were Aston Villa. I predicted predicted them to, oh, is that the time? Oh, mad. Yo, okay, basically, so I've got to go in a bit, like and subscribe. I predicted them to go down in 18th. It's not ideal, ladies and gentlemen, I won't lie. Once again, as I said earlier, I did predict the season before Martinez and Watkins came in. As much as everyone could be like, oh, we'll predict it later, all football YouTubers predict the season before the window ends. The season starts before the window ends anyway. But really and truly, even then, I've got to hold my hands up and say that this was an absolute shambles of prediction. Aston Villa were never going to go down with Jack Grealish in the side, only improving. And with the form they actually had at the end of last season, I think what I didn't do, and I will retrospectively accept this now, I did not take into account enough the form at the end of last season. They could have finished higher as well if it wasn't for that long injury for Jack Grealish. They are a one-man team. If he ever ends up out for 6 months, God forbid, they are in the mud. Not even in the mud, they're beyond the mud. The soil, relics, and bones of dinosaurs around them. They're that far in the mud. But yeah, regardless, I shafted it. In 10th place were Everton. I predicted them actually to finish in 7th. I predicted them to get into Europe. And really and truly, I don't think this was a bad prediction. I just think they massively underperformed. With Carlo Ancelotti as manager, the likes of James Rodriguez, a firing Dominic Calvert-Lewin, the other signings they brought in like Alan and Doucouré, they should not have finished 10th. I'm taking no responsibility. Carlo Ancelotti, I would like financial compensation. You're going to Real Madrid. You're getting a payout anyway, big man. You've got some to spare. 9th place, Leeds United. Everyone doubted them at the start of the season. I think it's just because people have an irrational dislike of Leeds. I predicted them to finish 13th, so I was pretty wrong on this one, but I genuinely think this is just a massive overperformance. And they were in the 12th, 13th range for quite a long time. Well, 11th. And then Everton and Aston Villa shafted it at the end of the season. Marcelo Bielsa's once again proven he's a top manager. And he crouches a lot. So what is there not to love? How do his knees not give way? And Patrick Bamford as well. I'm kind of happy for him, even though he's a raging Conservative member. In 8th place were Arsenal. I'll be honest with you, lads. This is another pretty poor one from me. I predicted them 4th. I would like to say this was my wild card option. This was the one time that I took into account form and accolades come the end of the season before, creating momentum going into the next one. And it was the one time it didn't flipping happen. Arsenal, are you okay, lads? To be fair, Mikel Arteta and Arsenal winning their last 5 games, impressive, but it was already done. They weren't finishing in Europe or in a European competition that anybody cares about. What I did was I watched them against Liverpool twice. At the end of the Premier League season and in the Community Shield, and obviously in their FA Cup run as well. They were turning over teams like Man City and Chelsea and Liverpool. And I was like, they've got a bit about them. They could genuinely challenge for Europe. In fairness, I think if Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang had been the usual Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, they would have probably finished 7th. In 7th was Tottenham. I predicted them to finish 6th, so not all that disastrous, really. A lack of defensive stability or any recognised back four has really hurt them. Davinson Sanchez, please could just get a new job. In 6th place were West Ham. I think you can guess where I may have put them. 17th was where I predicted West Ham. And the reality is a lot of people were predicting both Aston Villa and West Ham to struggle. The second reality to that is I think we were all just being lazy. I will hold my hands up and say that West Ham showed elements of promise at the end of last season to not warrant being predicted 17th. Definitely not warrant being predicted 6th, however. They didn't really even have a phenomenal window. Obviously, they brought in Jared Bowen. Jesse Lingard obviously came in January, but they were doing relatively well anyway. But again, David Moyes cannot get enough credit. The man has elevated himself back from being a bit of a Steve Bruce-esque manager to being a big man again. I don't know if he's that tall. In 5th place were Leicester. I predicted them to finish in 9th. I'm not really sure why. But yeah, probably quite poor from me. Leicester, I think, under Brendan Rodgers will always be Champions League contenders now. But yeah, poor from me. I guess only 4 places wrong, which in the grand scheme of this video is genuinely not even that bad. In P4 were Chelsea. I predicted them to finish in 3rd. I just didn't expect Frank Lampard to bottle the first half of the season as badly as he did. Kai Havertz, the likes of Ziyech, Chilwell. I mean, Chilwell was good all season, actually, to be fair, but I was expecting Ziyech and Havertz to have more of an impact in the first half of the season. In 3rd place were Liverpool. I predicted them rather naively to win the league. In fairness to me, this whole video is just me making an excuse. In fairness to me, though, I don't think anyone anyone could have predicted the centre-back injury crisis that we had. And I know a lot of people are very, you know, they want to say that we're making a meal out of it and it didn't matter. The reality is it did. And it wasn't just the fact that Virgil van Dijk was out, Joe Gomez was out, Joel Matip was out, and Harry Maguire's just got injured for Manchester United. They haven't won a game since. I don't think we even deserve to finish third, to be honest, based on how we were playing in the middle of the season. But I'll take it. Would we have won the league with Van Dijk? We would definitely have challenged, but I think we would have maybe fallen a little bit short because we weren't playing that well with him in the side. We lost 7-2 to Aston Villa with Van Dijk and Gomez at the back. And the team that finished in second was Manchester United. I predicted them to finish in 5th. I honestly really thought this was going to be the end of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I'm not happy to be proven wrong. Obviously, bottling the Europa League final in catastrophic circumstances against a man who says evening is not ideal. But at least for Manchester United fans, it's been a very, very decent league campaign. To be honest, if they lost all the games that they've been behind in this season, they'd have finished 15th, let alone in 5th. But the team that won the league, obviously, Manchester City, I predicted them to finish in 2nd. And Diaz came in and just changed that back line. I think last year was their burnout year where they just couldn't keep that same rhythm and intensity. But this year they've returned to that. They've looked amazing. All in all, I got one team correct, and that was West Brom. Nobody even cares about West Brom. I mean, there's a lot where I was one place out, for example, like Brighton, Southampton, Chelsea. I think I was one out for Spurs as well. But there was some howlers in there. Like Arsenal 4th is a shocker. There was actual logic behind it, but then I failed to recognise that Arsenal are Arsenal, West Ham, howler, and Aston Villa as well. I'm sorry to those respective fan bases. Arsenal, I'm just sorry to your fan base because you have to be Arsenal fans. Regardless of that, I genuinely think I may have to retire as a football YouTuber. That is it. This may be the final YouTube video you ever see from me. But if you did enjoy it, then slap a like on the video and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Maybe one day I'll predict the Premier League season correctly. Speaking of which, I'll have my Euros prediction coming soon. Get ready for North Macedonia winning it. It's been a pleasure ranting at you guys though today. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy yourselves and goodbye.